Hey everybody, welcome to Harmon Garage. I'm Aaron, and today it is raining terribly bad. It's crunch time for me on Evergreen to get ready for the show, but everything that I need to do on Evergreen right now requires welding, and welding outside in the rain just generally isn't that great of an idea. So, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Evergreen has a deadline because it's going to the truck gathering, Guthrie, Oklahoma, April 19th and 20th, 2024. And if you don't know what that is or what I'm talking about, you need to go over to thetruckgathering.com, check it out, or go down in the description of the video and click on the link I've got there for it. You don't want to miss it. So, on top of having Evergreen and it going to the truck gathering, because I'm a glutton for punishment, also known as stupid, I've got another deadline. And that deadline happens to be April 29th, which is 1 week after the truck gathering. And it is a drag racing event put on by some of my other YouTuber buddies. Chad from Squarebody stuff, Ryan from Streetcar Chronicles, and they got the idea to do this event. They want to go do some drag racing and stuff, and it's actually blown up and gotten to be a lot bigger than what it was originally going to be, and quite possibly more than what I'm comfortable with. But I told them I was in. I don't go back on my word. So if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you know about the burnout truck. Well, a long time ago, shortly after I started building the burnout truck, I got in my head that yes, I wanted to go do the burnout thing with it, which I think the burnout thing's kind of getting absorbed and it's not really all that great anymore because it's everywhere now. But I've always been a drag racer, and I was doing the inline 6 deal in the burnout truck. And I wanted to drag race it also because I wanted to go through stages of building an inline 6 to find out how fast we could get it to go down a drag strip in a full-size truck. Well, things happen. So I had a motor put together, not great, but put together as a starting point in the truck. And then I went to put the 292 in Evergreen, which is sitting outside over there. And the 292 that I had, the head was bad. I knew the head on this motor was good because I had it in the machine shop and had all new valve guides, all new valves, oversized valves, mild porting, resurfaced. I mean, it had the whole nine. Like everything that could be done to a head was done. So I knew it was good. So we needed it for Evergreen. Well, then we fall back on, okay, now we need a motor for the burnout truck because I already know I have to be somewhere at the end of April with it. And my buddy goes, oh, I got a motor for you. And I got the motor and it would work. It would work fine. But it's a 73 350. And I've got another truck Kermit out there that I want to do a restoration on because it's a rare option truck, and that's what the 292 came out of, but that was originally a 350 truck. So I've been looking for a right year range, 70 to 75 350, to put in that truck. So it's all, you know, even though it won't be matching numbers, which doesn't really matter to me anyways, still going to be correct year range, correct truck motor, all that stuff. So I got that motor to put in the burnout truck, and I went, oh crap, now we're putting that motor in Kermit. Only other motor I had sitting around here was this one. And I'm going to tell you guys that this is a 454, but I'm not going to tell you anything else about it because we're going to do a special video basically all about that motor when I assemble it and everything, because that's not just any old 454. That's a special 454, and I've had it for a couple years, and up until earlier this week I didn't even know it was a special 454. So I've been blabbering and blabbering and blabbering for a few minutes. I got a lot to talk about. Don't want to bore you guys. Either way, it's raining catching dogs outside. I can't really be out there working. I'm waiting on the next shipment of parts to show up for Shorty here. And like I said, I have a deadline on the burnout truck, which is gonna get a new name now because it's not the burnout truck anymore. But I haven't come up with anything yet. And yeah, so I need to get this motor and trans out. We got a Ford 9-inch over there that's gonna go in it. I've got some modifications I wanna do because of engine placement with the big block. I've got a full pre-bent roll cage that needs to be put in it. I've got a racing seat that can be put in it. I've got tranny coolers. I've got electric fans. I've got gauges. I've got lots of stuff. And I don't have a lot of time to make this video because it's Friday and I put my videos up Tuesday. So I can't work outside. I need to get a video done. So we're gonna start working on the burnout truck and we're gonna go as far as we can go with it before I need to put the video up for Tuesday. And then we'll probably get back on Evergreen and we'll bounce back and forth and all that stuff. But I'm an idiot. Let's get to it. Alright. First thing we gotta do is yank this motor and trans out of here because we're not gonna be using it anymore. And that can be kind of fun considering we've got this flip forward hood that you can't see in the frame right now. Because we can't just go straight out with it. We gotta kind of whatever. It's gonna be a boring part. I just got you guys set up so you can see what's going on. And got my cherry picker hooked up, probably way too high, you know, all that kind of stuff. But either way, we're gonna get this motor and trans sucked out of here. And then I'm gonna get started on some things that you guys are gonna go, Aaron, no, idiot, stop. You don't have time for this. And you're gonna be right, but I'm an idiot. And I don't want to just build the truck twice. So even though we're trying to do like an entry-level thing here to start out, we're gonna entry-level it with some mid-level flavor so that we don't have to do as much or redo when we go to do the mid-level stuff. So you get the picture. We're gonna pull the motor out. Alright, so remember when I said you guys were going to go, Aaron, what in the heck are you thinking, you don't have time for this? This is that part. So, I got a marker here, and you're wondering, why would I need to mark something? Well, because I'm an idiot. And, yeah, we're going to cut something that's going to cause us a lot more work. The reason that we're going to do that is because the further back your motor is, the better off you are. And there's a reasoning behind that. And I used to know what it was, but it's been a while. I can't remember right now, but I'll look it up here in a little bit. And before this video is over, I'll explain it all to you guys. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cutoff wheel. Yeah, that's right, cutoff wheel. And I'm going to come across here, kind of like this. And kind of come down here, sort of like this. And just keep going. and going. Yeah, we are going to go all the way down here. And then, of course, if we're going to hack up this side, might as well go ahead and hack up this side too, right? Obviously, these are going to be perfectly symmetrical when I get done. This is just a rough sketch. No, they're probably not going to be. It's just whatever. But we're going to come over here. We're going to stay away from our brake mounting stuff there. And cut all that up too. Which, I don't know what I'm thinking. If I cut out what I just drew out that I was going to cut out, that's going to eliminate where my gas pedal was. Which is going to mean I can't put a gas pedal there anymore. And if I can't put a gas pedal there, then where am I going to put it? See, I don't ever think none of this stuff out. We just do it. But that's okay. So, I'm going to get this cut out. We'll figure out a gas pedal later. Maybe we'll get some of them hand controls or something. I don't know. I'm going to get this all cut out. I'm going to cut out part of the trans tunnel too, because, you know, you move that back, trans going to hit the floor, yada, yada, yada. And then, once this is all cut out and opened up, then I'll either come up with a mock-up block that I can use to start mocking stuff up, or we'll get the motor built and do it all at once. But in the meantime, I can take our engine mount towers off. I can take our engine mounts that we made off. I can take the brace that the inline 6 has off. All that stuff. And yeah, and we'll cut that, and then we're not going to be using these kind of motor mounts anymore. We're going to use a motor plate, possibly a mid plate, and we'll figure it out. But either way, we're just going to cut some crap up, so let's do it. Alright. I decided to put a little bit more effort into it than just drawing a line on the truck and cutting it out. So, I need to find center point, which I think my easiest way to do that is going to be all the way across. 70 inches, so half of 70 is 35. Mark that there. Right there is our center point. And I went ahead and just set one of the heads and a valve cover on the big block over there. And did a little bit of measuring, and I need about 28 inches of clearance to, you know, have plenty of room with the heads and whatever. So half of 28 would be 14. So you can come off like 14 inches on each side. I don't like that because that's going to put me in my brake. But we'll figure it out. Come over here. I'm going to go double check my measurements because I don't think there's any way that dang big block is that wide. I don't believe it. I'm going to go double check my measurements. Probably should set the other head and the other valve cover on so that I get a more accurate measurement than just putting one on and guessing. But if I got to cut that much out, I will, but I don't think I should need to. I think it should fit more in here. I'm going to go load another big old heavy head over there. Put it on the motor, put valve cover on, measure again, and see if we really need to cut that much out, which I don't see that being the case, or not. So here we go. Okay. I slowed down. I curbed my excitement a little bit. I had one head just resting on the big block, which probably wasn't that smarter than I did to begin with. But I put the other head on, and I put a bolt, had 2 head bolts in each head so that they don't just hit a bump and fall off. Put the valve covers on, measured them, and I can get away with 25 inches. That's 3 inches less than I thought I needed before. And as I thought about it, not only do I want to move the motor back, but I kind of want to get it as low down as I can. And honestly, when the motor's sitting in there, the top of the motor's like right here. I don't need 25 inches of opening up here. I need 25 inches of opening down here. So what I'm going to do is take I marked the 25 out right here and right here. Y'all can't see it. I'm going to take this straight edge and use it as much as I can, being that that's not perfectly straight, but I'm going to draw a line down here, like so. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. And then it's going to give me a line over here. Like so. Over here somewhere. And then what I'm going to do is go out the penny watch, my dually, which has a 454 in it, and I'm not going to take you guys with me because it's pouring down rain outside and I don't even really want to go out there myself. But I'm going to find out where exactly on this firewall the top of the motor is going to be. Where am I going to need clearance for the distributor? Where am I going to need clearance for the valve covers? Exactly. And then we're going to come back and we're going to kind of making exactly what we need to cut out area, and then we'll finally cut it out. Alright. Honestly, I should have just gone out in the rain and looked at that truck in the first place. Because at the end of the day, I can come across this seam right here, which is going to be the bottom of our opening up there. Come across this seam right here, which is more than enough room. And then I can come over. I'm trying to square it off because I don't want to have to patch the panels back in at angles, or create angles patching the panels back in. So either way, pretty much following this line that I have down over here. following this line that I have down over here. So we're going to come out here, right like so. We're going to come out here, right like so. And then, you guys can't see where I'm marking, but I'm going to come down here. And we're going to cut that out. And then we're going to have a whole bunch of other marks that people are going to look at someday and go, I forgot all those marker drawings all over it. And they're going to say, well, there's an error. I'm going to go get it cut off, we'll get it plugged in, ready to work, yada yada. We're going to slice the crap up. Alright, got this all marked out. You guys might be able to see it, you might not, but there's a bright red paint marker line all the way around where I'm cutting out. So the end of our transmission tunnel ends right here, and I'm wanting to move everything back. And I mean everything, motor, trans, all of it. I want to move it back 6 inches. So from the back of our tunnel to where my line is right here is 6 inches. So in theory, is it going to work? No, because I'm doing it. But in theory, I would like to take this whole chunk, cut it out, cut 6 inches off of the back of it, slide it back, and put filler pieces on the side and be able to weld it back in. Yep, sounds good. Probably not going to work. But anyways, we're not going to be able to screw stuff up unless we start screwing it up, so let's go ahead and get it cut out. Did I happen to mention to you guys that I gotta have this truck at a drag strip ready to race in like 6 weeks? Yep, I do. All right, well, we now have a big gaping hole in our truck. And you guys are probably thinking, man, Aaron's a freaking idiot. And kind of agree with you, but there's certain things like where everything lines up transitions into how something performs. And the shorter the distance between the back of the crank and the differential makes a big difference. So I know 6 inches doesn't seem like a lot, and it may not be, but we're gonna try it and see what happens. And I'd rather do it now while I'm initially building the truck than tear it all back apart and pull everything out of it to do this later. So I got the section that I cut out here, and I know that after I cut 6 inches off the back of it and move it back, it's not going to line up anymore, but we're going to see how well it lines up and decide whether we want to try to reuse that as much as we can, or if we want to just get some metal and make a whole new trans tunnel. But I'm thinking I'm going to be using that because metal's kind of hard for me to come by and whatnot. So you'd think that I would put a motor and transmission in this and then build the, trans tunnel, firewall, whatever around it to make sure I had clearance, but we're not gonna do that. I'm gonna cut 6 inches off the back of that. I'm gonna get it back in there, try to get it lined up, and we're gonna tack it back in place and put fillers where we need to. Because I know we're only going 6 inches, and that's really all the room that I have. You may see that I no longer have provisions for my gas pedal over here. I was gonna get rid of the big power brake pedal and go to a manual brake pedal anyways. And before this is all over, I'm gonna take the brake pedal and move it over to the other side of the steering column, which will leave me room for a gas pedal that I can make or buy and put it over here on this side of the steering wheel. And I'll still have room for it up against my tunnel. So that's about it. I'm doing a lot of talking. And one last thing, I'm waiting for the comments about, oh, well, when most people move their motor back, they cut the whole firewall out and move the whole firewall back. And that would be a correct statement. That's usually what happens. And I don't disagree with you. But I'm 6'7", and taking 6 inches of firewall away is gonna make me even more cramped up in something that I'm already not over the top comfortable in. And when you're racing and stuff like that, you want to try to be as comfortable as possible. So by just moving the center back, I still have 6 more inches of leg room in front of me. And I'm going to leave the passenger side too, because even though this thing's nowhere near anything street legal, there's still an opportunity that I might try to take it on a drag and drive or something someday. And if somebody's riding with me, I want to leave as much room for them as possible also. So, all right, let's get our panel that we cut out here, and we'll measure out about 6 inches, and we'll cut it off, and then keep going with that, and I'll show you the thought process that I have. And then there's some other stuff that we need to do. There's a lot of other stuff that we need to do. So we're just gonna keep working until I run out of time, see what we get done. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, get my 6 inches trimmed off. This is roughly 6 inches right here. I'm not gonna measure it because I just know it's roughly 6 inches right there. And I wanna follow this line here, like so. I'm gonna get that trimmed off and keep going. This ain't gonna be one of those things where it just falls right into place and everything's gonna be glorious at all. And I know that going into it. But, so, I'm either gonna have to trim out the floor or trim out the piece that I cut out of the floor to make this sit down where it needs to. So I'm okay with it being a little higher than original, even though we don't need it to, because, you know, we're gonna try to lower the motor and stuff down, but our roll on the floor right here at the front of the seats here is what's hurting us or keeping us from laying down or whatever you want to say. So we're going to take this right here. If I got a marker that wrote, that would be extravagantly great. But you get the picture. We're going to do that. We're going to do the same thing over here on this side. I'm going to go trim that out real quick. Then we'll bring it back and it should let this sit down more where we want it to sit down. Let's see how it goes. Alright, I can say one thing. I have officially figured out why when people do this, they usually cut out the section and then put all new metal back in, because trying to get old stuff to line up doesn't work that great. I got this to where I'll be happy with it, where it'll work, where I can do what I need to do and whatnot. But aside from that, it's just going to be what it is. Right now, all I'm worried about doing is just getting it tacked in. As you can tell, I haven't even cleaned metal yet or nothing else. Just getting it tacked in place where we want it. And Alright, well, I got it kind of snubbed back in where I want it. As you can see, from the center of peak to where the center of peak used to be, it's about 6 inches, and we're good with that. So up here, I got my blue line. Hopefully you can see it. Comes up here, goes across there, and comes down the other side. If I cut that off on that blue line and redo all that metal, it's going to give me a lot more room over there and over here. But I'm more worried about over there because I'm taking a wider part and moving the whole thing back where I can cut it off and then angle it to it instead of having it be clear over and then straight in. Makes sense? Hope so. Makes sense to me. And I think I know what I'm doing, even though I don't. So here it is from the outside. As you can see, we got ourselves 6 more inches of clearance here, which is gonna let us slide that big block deeper back in there, which is the whole point of this deal. I mean, before, the back of the motor sat right here. Now the back of the motor is gonna sit back here. So, and we also wanna try to get our center of gravity down, so we wanna get weight down. So this may be an issue, but if it's not, we should be able to get that weight, should be able to get that weight down and back, which is important. I'm not so worried about having enough horsepower to like lift the front end off the ground, do wheelies and such. I'm more worried about having weight transferred to the back to get it to hook up, which 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You get the weight to the back, get it to hook up, and you don't have a lot of weight on the front. It's gonna pull wheelies, but let's just put it this way. If I get out there, start racing it, and it starts pulling wheelies, I did something right. But I'm ready to call it quits for today. I know I didn't really do anything, but it's Sunday, and I ran out of cutoff discs, and I can't do anything else until I get cutoff discs so I can do some more cutting and stuff, so I can go get them first thing in the morning, or I can go get them this evening, but I'm not gonna come back here today. So anyways, no turning back. That's the thing. If you're questionable about doing something on a project and you don't know if you want to do it, just cut it all out, because at that point you're like, might as well do it. I already ruined it anyways. So that's what I do. If I don't know if I want to do it or not, or I'm not sure how I'm going to do it or what's going to go right or yada, 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 I just cut that crap up, and then you have to figure out how to put it back in. So see you guys in the morning. Okay, so we left off yesterday for me, a minute ago for you guys, where I had marked the piece of the trans tunnel / firewall that I had cut out so that I could cut it off. And I cut it off, and now we're at the point where we got to start making stuff fit back in and work the way we need it to work. And the way I cut stuff off and the way things are going back in, pretty sure we gained more than 6 inches that we'll be able to come back with that motor, which is fine. I mean, I was doing 6 inches because I figured that was easy and wouldn't give me a lot of problems. But rather than tying it back in down here, 6 inches back, we cut this back here, pulled it back, and now we're tying it in clear back here. So from here to here, I don't have a tape measure in here with me, but I can visually tell without lying to my wife that that's more than 6 inches. So yeah, so it's kind of hard for me to have a camera in here while I'm doing this, and all I'm really doing is grinding and welding, so it's not super exciting to watch anyways. So I'm going to just keep kind of patching this in. We're gonna get it patched in. We got some patches we need to make, and I just want to get it. I'm not gonna solid weld it all in right now. We're in the building stage, we're in the fabrication stage. I need to get this boxed back in where it's gonna be, and that will allow us to put our motor in and mock it up. So that's the plan. I'm gonna keep working on this side. I'll keep updating you guys as I go, show you progress that I made. The next piece that I'm gonna make for right now is gonna be on top of this ledge, coming out to here and filling in this whole piece right here. So I'm trying to not waste a whole bunch of construction paper to make templates. I'm trying to kind of just take some measurements and do what we got to do, but I don't want to waste a lot of materials either way. So we're gonna take some measurements, we're gonna see what we got, and we're gonna keep going. All right, got a couple hours in on this. I don't even know how long. I haven't looked at a thing, but it's been a terrible week for getting stuff done. I've been trying to mess with this thing. I've been trying to get parts together. Finally got everything I needed today, and today's the last day I have to film before the video goes out tomorrow. But it's getting late. I need to go home and see my kids before they go to bed and eat some dinner. I'm starting to get a terrible headache. I don't know if it's from smelling burning paint welding on this thing or lack of nutrition or what the case may be, but I got this side all the way back to right here, and then I've already got it tacked around there, so I just got to fill this little spot in right here, and the passenger side's all done. And then I'm gonna come over here to the driver's side. That hasn't been touched at all yet, so I still gotta, that's fine back there. I can make this touch here, so once again it'll be there to there. And then this side over here didn't line up as well as that side did, so I might have to do some filling there, and we'll work our way up over there like we did on the other side. I think once I get over here and start working, I may be able to do like some time-lapse stuff of what I'm doing from the other side. And then once I get that box back in, I don't think I'm gonna do it today or tonight or in the morning or in this video, but it's not like up here. Here's my piece here, and there's still a big chunk of firewall here. So I can go back in and trim that out and grind it down. I want to try to clean up both sides of it after I weld it, just so if you happen to reach back down in there for something, you don't catch a sharp piece of edge of metal or sharp weld slag or a piece of wire that burnt through or whatever, you know. So we'll clean all that up too. Yes, this is a race truck, and yes, it's on a deadline, but I still don't want to just hack it together. I want to make it halfway decent. So yeah, I'm gonna take a break for now, go home. I'm either going to come back tonight and keep working, or get up early in the morning, and the video will probably be late getting up tomorrow. But either way, we're gonna get done what we can get done, and there will be a video tomorrow. All right, so next morning, I got over here early for me. I'm trying to get some stuff done here so we can get this tunnel thing finished up. But I got this side completely done, all the way filled in back here. Everything has a tack, at least one tack every inch. So that's gonna be as far as we go with it for right now, because I don't want to weld that all up finished and solid until the motor's in and I know everything's gonna mesh. So I'm about ready to get started on the other side. I'm gonna set the camera up on the tripod and kind of give you an angle from here. I know you're not gonna be able to see exactly what I'm doing, so to say, but you'll be able to see kind of what I'm doing. I don't know. It's too hard to, I can't put a camera in behind me when I'm in there, because all you'll see is my backside, and you get what I'm saying. I'm trying to keep you all updated. I'm trying to get some work done. So we'll try to do a time lapse or something here, and we'll try to get this other side done. It's funny. I'm cutting outside. I'm cleaning up metal outside. I'm working in here, trying not to make too much dust. It's a big old mess, but we're gonna keep going. All right. I really should take this dang steering wheel out. I'm gonna be fighting it all the way through this side, but it take a lot to get the steering wheel out because of everything we got going on in there. So we're just gonna leave it be. Alright. Kind of just rough cutting that. For some reason the other side worked out a lot better. I was able to just put the piece up behind it and did its thing. This one not so much, so I'd rather, I'm going to remark it because I'd rather have to cut more than take too much off. So I'm going to go cut this and come back and see. Progress update on the driver's side. It's coming along. I ended up doing things a little bit different on this side. Instead of doing the whole front up by the firewall first and then moving back down the sides, I ended up starting at the back and working my way forward, because after I got that first upright panel in the middle, I have to be in the middle on the tunnel to get up there to weld and stuff. And since this side wasn't sitting on top of the floor, it was in a little bit. When I was sitting on it, it was pushing it way down, which was making it harder to do the front, was throwing everything off and whatever. So I started at the back. I've got some gaps I'm gonna have to fill, but I've been filling gaps my whole life, so ain't no big deal. But got panels all the way down, all the way to up there. So now all we got left is that right there, which we should just be able to make one piece and toss it in there and be done. That would probably be easy. It would be a little bit off to try to get all the lines and angles and everything that I needed, but the main reason, the real reason that we're not gonna do it all in one piece is because I don't have a piece of metal left that's big enough to do that whole piece. So I'm hoping I can get it in two pieces. So I'm gonna try to get two pieces done. I'm gonna go dig around and see what I got for metal and keep going. And when I get to, probably just when I get them done, I'll bring you guys back. I'll show you what we got, but we're making progress. Why I'm thinking about it, why I have your guys' undivided attention, I need a junk, big block. Just a block. No, don't need heads, don't need oil pan, don't need pistons, rods, crank, cam, nothing. I need a junk, pulled off the bottom of a pond block. You may be saying, but I've seen in the background you've got that big block sitting over there. Yes, I do, but I need to do a lot of mock-up and stuff in here with a block in place, and it's not gonna be that one because I don't wanna take any chances of doing any damage to that. One, because I need that motor to put in this truck, and two, hit the subscribe button, because coming up real soon, we're gonna have a video on that motor and you'll find out why it's so special. So I'm gonna keep going. If you have a block and you're close to central/northwest Alabama and you will sell it to me cheap or give it to me or whatever the case may be, please let me know as soon as possible, because I need to get one so I can keep moving on this. So we'll be right back. All right, well, we got her done. Not finished, but like I said before, I'm not solid welding and finishing any of this because I need to get a mock-up motor and trans and all that in there and make sure that everything's gonna fit where I want it to, because if it's not, it's a lot easier to just cut back on the tacks that I already have in here. Maybe I could just move some stuff out, put a filler piece in, or you know, you get what I'm getting, you get what I'm throwing. So But anyways, there it is. All put back in. Like I said, our initial 6 inches turned into more like 9 because I changed my mind on how I was going to do it. And I already told you we got some big gaps we're going to have to fill up, but it is what it is. And it's a race car. It's not a show truck, so it's not like I'm going to have to put body filler in here and sand it and everything and make it perfect. I just have to make it sealed up so it'll pass tech. I don't really necessarily care a whole lot what it looks like, even though you know I'm lying, and I'm still gonna grind it down so it looks okay, but I'm not gonna body work it or anything like that. So this side's all done. It was a little bit rougher. I had to do it in like 4 or 5 pieces instead of 2 like I did on the other side, but it came out pretty good. All that's done. Last thing we're gonna do on that transmission tunnel today is, I already mentioned to you guys that where I actually, my shoes untied, where I actually, on this side, it's right where I cut. On this side, our tunnel's actually back more, gave us more room. So I can see where my welds are right here, so I'm just gonna take a cutoff wheel and I'm just gonna go just inside my welds and trim this out. And then I'll be able to go back with like a flapper disc or something later on when I'm smoothing everything out and butt it up. But I just want to go ahead and cut that off because next, probably most likely next video I do on this truck, which will be pretty soon, we'll be putting that transmission core with a big block. I need to find a big block with a big block and stuff on it so that we can start setting up our mounts and stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm gonna get the cutoff wheel, put my jacket back on, find some safety glasses, yada yada yada, and we'll zip that out of our way. After we get that done, I've got that brace that comes in 6-cylinder cars, can come out. Our towers and our solid motor mounts that we made, I know we made a bunch of stuff for this thing and we're not even going to use it, but that can come out because the front of the motor is going to be probably right here. So, and that's going to give us more, we'll get into all that later. I can pull the motor mounts out, I can pull the brace out. And then over here, I probably already mentioned this, but it's been a couple days, so I don't remember. I've got this 9-inch, and we're gonna stuff it in there. So let's keep going. I got all that stuff, excess stuff taken off. So now the front end is where I can put tires on it so we can roll it, which I really need to be able to get it out to the wash area because as you can tell, there's a lot of years of crap and buildup over there. So yeah, need to do that. But we're gonna do our mock-up and fabrication stuff before we take it out to the wash bay to wash it. So maybe we'll take it out to the wash bay and wash it before we do anything else. I don't know. I don't really have a plan, nor do I ever really have a plan. We just kind of go with it and see what happens. But next thing I'm gonna do, put the 9-inch in here. Is that something that needs to be done right now? Definitely not. But at the same time, yes, it kind of does, because I want to be able to put wheels on this thing so I can move it. If I want to push it outside so I can bring something else in, or, you know, move it to work on it, or whatever the case may be, I just want it to be mobile. So, and there's a lot of fabrication that's going to have to be done with the rear end. I'm going to do shock relocation, all that kind of stuff, so that it hooks better. Just a ton of stuff. We're gonna teach you guys how to build a backwoods redneck drag car that should perform halfway decent without spending all the money, because we ain't got all the money to spend. So anyways, I've got axle flip brackets. I do not. I have Ford 9-inch spring perches that we are going to use as axle flip brackets. If you watch the channel for a while, you know that when you flip an axle, there's an offset hole that's 1 inch forward. So when you put it in, it moves the rear end 1 inch back, so it stays centered, because when you go forward, it's moving it forward. So you have to, or when you go on top, it moves it forward, so you have to go back. Either way, I didn't buy axle flip brackets because I can go get these perches for 20 bucks and I know how to drill a hole on my drill press. So why spend 60 bucks on an axle flip kit? Then I went and bought U-bolts that fit. I usually don't buy U-bolts. This actually ended up being more expensive than an axle flip kit, but only because we're using a 9-inch and not a factory GM rear end. But I had to buy U-bolts because the axle tubes on the 9-inch are bigger than the standard, and we're gonna reuse our same original plates, but we have to relieve those, maybe. You usually gotta relieve them right here for the bolt to go in, since you move everything. And then we're gonna have to open up the holes where the U-bolts themselves go in just a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bang that out, and we'll get started putting this rear end in here. Okay, let's see if I can do this by myself. It would probably be a little bit easier to drop the springs down and so on and so forth, but right now I've got the jack stands on the springs. So it would be a real pain in the behind to change everything over just to drop the springs down and put the rear end in. So I think we're just going to try to lift it up and push it through. Once I get it over the first spring and get it in there, should be able to help myself out with the jack, but I guess we'll find out in a second. And hopefully, being that the truck is sitting on the springs on jack stands, I don't bump it hard enough that it knocks it off. Here we go. I don't even know if it's going to fit because of the bump stops that need to come off. Dang it. One thing after another, I might not be able to get it in there. Like this. Alright, there's that part. There's no way this pumpkin is going in there whatsoever. But I can maybe get in there and knock that bump stop off knock both bump stops off real quick. And that might give us the room that we need. Guess it ain't doing no good to sit here and talk about it. I'll go knock them bump stops off and see what happens. Alright. I got the bump stops off. Striper hernia again. Oh my goodness. We're partially there. I think now I can probably get underneath there with the floor jack and start jacking it up from the side, and then I should be able to push it the rest of the way in. Oh. You don't want to do that. I'll look pull it up. Well, we were able to get this side in because of how we did it. I don't think we're going to be able to get it through the other side because we can't get our angles and stuff, but we'll find out in just a second. Okay, we can get it through. We just have to jack it up more. Oh, come on! Oh gosh, I had it. Dang. Parking brake cable and crap in the way. Oh, there's our other problem. Our dang shock thingy right here. Tightens on this side. So what we need to do is lay that back like so. Put our jack underneath the back here. And slide it. All right. Well, not saying it was safe, smart, or any of those things, but I will say that we did get it in. And we're also going to have to do some measuring because the spring width on the board is narrower than that on the Chevy. So first things first, get our perches over. So we at least got it sitting on the perch because that's going to make things a lot easier. And then I can't really measure from the springs out to the backing plate because the springs can move in and out. So what I'm going to do is measure from the, you guys, yeah, you can see. I'm going to measure from the outside of the frame rail to the back of the backing plate. And then when we have our same measurement, our axle should be centered. So let me get the other spring perch sitting up there. We will get a unit of measurement and see how close to it. Right after I test my ankle or fall on something. Okay, so frame to backing plate, about 9 inches. Frame to backing plate over here, a little over 10 inches. Now we're about 9 1/4, which from my other measurements tells me I went too far. Yep, now we're at about 10 over here. That is 9 and a half. Now we run into another problem. the difference in the width of the spring perch, or the springs from the Ford to the Chevy, puts the Ford spring perch right where I need to put a U-bolt. So I can't bolt this rear end in here until I cut and grind those spring perches off. And I'm noticing that I'm getting to a point where I'm rushing, and when you get to a point where you're trying to rush stuff to get done, this is the kind of stuff you run into. So. Time to slow down. All right, I said I needed to slow down and stop rushing, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. And that has more meaning than just one thing. So, Pennywise or Evergreen is our main priority. It has the shortest deadline. I have 98% of the parts to finish it, and the other parts have been ordered and should be here any day. That has the shortest deadline. That's our main priority. So you're asking, why are you working on a burnout truck if Evergreen's your main priority? And I don't remember if I mentioned this at the beginning of the video or not, because it was a couple days ago, but it was raining outside and I need to weld on Evergreen. So I can't weld outside in the rain. So we decided to do a little bit of work on this, and we actually made quite a bit of progress. The rear end is sitting in there, which it wasn't before, and I'll have to measure again by the time I'm done, but I got to cut the spring perches off, clean up the axle tubes, and we can bolt that down. Like it's really close. It's in there. We got the firewall moved back so we can move the motor back. We got the motor and trans that aren't going to be part of this project in there, out of there. And yeah, I mean, progress is progress, but I need to get this video up tonight and come over first thing in the morning and lay the smackdown on all Evergreen. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you're interested in some of the quality Harmon Garage merchandise, so link in the description below, www.harmongarage.net. And that's gonna do it for this week. Thanks everybody that watched the special edition video. That was something that I did for fun for myself, and I kind of thought it was gonna be a flop, and it hasn't been. It's done tremendous, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback from it. So thank you all for that. I put a lot of work into it, and you guys really made it worth the effort. So with all that being said, no further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.